Good morning, everyone. Yeah, this is much better. Uh, okay, so it is quite interesting that I want to share something that has been coming up again in my devotion. And just this week, there's just been a lot that the Lord has been trying to say to me, and I believe that if we were to just keep listening to the voice of God, there is something that He says specifically to every situation that you're going through as a person. To me, it's been awesome. Just from a story, simple story in the Bible, the story of Mary, the Lord has revealed something which is awesome and super, super awesome. And it's just how the heart of man can respond to the heart of God. The sacrifice made for us in the ultimate sacrifice of Jesus can actually be reflected in each one of us in our giving, our sacrificial ways of living. Basically, from the story of Mary Magdalene, when she was at the feast of Simon, the leper, when they were holding a feast for Jesus, we find a story that is so intriguing in that it's amazing. I'm telling you, it's just amazing if you're spending time and you're looking at the facts that are happening there. Okay, I'll just create a scene and you go back and read this from the Bible, from all the Gospels, because the story is so important that all the Gospels record it. That is how important it is. Now, here is Simon the leper who has been healed of leprosy, which according to the Jews, leprosy was a living death. Okay, because a person's skin and body parts literally were falling off a person, and the Jews considered leprosy as they looked upon leprosy as the finger of God, like you've been zoomed by God and He has cursed you, like it's a curse from God. And here is a man who has been rescued by Jesus Christ Himself after healing him. And remember, Simon was a Pharisee. Okay, he's been healed, and now he's holding a feast to Jesus, to honor Jesus. And at the feast, the disciples are there, and there's another man who has been rescued from death, and that is Lazarus, okay, been rescued from death. So here is Jesus seated in between two people who He has rescued, one from a living death and one from the actual death. And at that scene, while everything was going on fine, everything was a happy time. People were eating and talking and drinking until a woman came in. And that woman is Mary. She sneaked in into the party, so to say. And as she comes into the party, she breaks down the alabaster box with the precious ornament which was in it. And the breaking down of that box is the one that revealed her to everybody else, because the scent, the sweet smelling perfume that went out into the air, everybody else was able to see and be able to smell the fragrance, and they're able to tell, okay, this is something that is more expensive, which has been poured out. And Mary considered herself as a sinner, and she gave her a most precious gift to Jesus. And this for me began to strike my heart when everybody else around began to react to the love that Mary had for the Savior. It's amazing. The most selfish person in that group of people, who is Judas, spoke when the most sacrificial person, who was Mary, who considered herself a sinner, poured out her most precious gifts to Jesus. Now, that begins to reveal something about us as human beings and how we react to people when they're giving their service to God, the best service that they could offer. What does our inner dialogue say? What do we say when people are sacrificing the best that they can offer? Okay, there's so much more to that story that I practically have done 2 sermons on them, and I'll be doing 1 sermon, I think, this coming Friday, which is the man of Calvary to what waste What is the purpose of this West? That's the subtitle. The main title is The Man of Calvary. What is the purpose of this West? That is what the disciples said when they saw Mary pour out the ornament. They said, what is the purpose of this West? What is the purpose of this West? And the other title is The Greatest Sinner. Now, who is the greatest sinner? So these two presentations basically are going to border on the story of Mary. I just want us to go back, if you have time, and check out what you can about Mary and share with me if you have to, okay? Tell me all. I want to learn also from you as you're watching this video and as you're listening and getting all these words. What are some of the thoughts that you, when you go back and read the Bible, that story begin to tell you about the heart of God, which was reflected in the sacrifice of Mary? Because in the sacrifice of Mary, giving and breaking the alabaster box, we see the sacrifice of the Godhead in breaking themselves up, the body of Jesus, the most precious being in the whole planet, being sacrificed for us. And what is our response when Jesus Christ is broken? What is our response? Is our response the same as the disciples? To what purpose is this West? Do we consider ourselves rich and increased in goods that we think this needs to be given to the poor, not us? Is that the way we consider the sacrifice of Jesus? Because you see, we're living in a Laodicean age, and in this Laodicean age, what is happening is that we think we are increased with good and need of nothing. We think, oh, we understand everything that we need to know about righteousness by faith and all this. Let's just take it out there. And that's where we make the mistake. And the greatest mistake that we have made is the same mistakes that the Pharisees did. Ellen White says they thought righteousness, an intellectual assent of truth, constituted righteousness, head knowledge. That's what they thought. But in this simple story that we have in the Bible, we find amazing truth. So I pray that you go back and study and share with me and share with everybody else. And may God bless you.